Good day, and welcome to this presentation of the new version 6 of our lighting design program called Litestar 4D. We'd like to start our presentation introducing you the idea behind Litestar 4D. Litestar 4D was developed since the beginning as a system of software and hardware tools to make the work of all the light sector operator easier. So to create tools making the life of any designer, any manufacturer, any distributor, any installer easier. So our idea was since the beginning to develop a program capable of managing the lighting design process from the beginning to the end. So from the photometric measurement down to the offer, down to the sale of the product. We are now living a revolution in the field of designing with the introduction of the new concept of the BIM technology. And the BIM technology is bringing a new way of approaching the process in between the different people, among the different people participating to development of any design. And it is called interoperability. It means that all the people have a different approach and participate to the project sharing information in a way completely unknown up to the age of the CAD system. So the system before the BIM technology was introduced. And this interoperability, for example, over here in Italy, was very well described at the Article 4 of our law, managing all the BIM introduction into our country for the next 6 years. And at the Article 4, it is well described the interoperability and what it means in terms of programs to use and in terms of files to share in between the people. So, for example, contracting authorities, in this case, this law is referred to our public administration, use interoperable platforms by means of non-proprietary open formats. It means that the formats must be, as mentioned behind here, down here, they should be produced and shared among all the participants in the project during the construction, and the management of the intervention are usable without this entailing the exclusive use of specific individual commercial technological applications. It means that the programs must be open to receive the files, any file, and the formats of these files must be known and developed by a standard body above all the participants, above all the programs available in the market. So the main point is that all the programs must have an open database. And this is what is one of the main characteristics of our program. We developed Litestar since the beginning, many years ago, back on 1988, in this way. It was supposed to be a program with an open database so that the people could share the information. We are not yet at the point to develop and to export and produce a BIM file, for example, an IFC file, but this is the work of this year. We prepare all the bases in order to have all the information transferred and converted into the BIM technology as soon as it will be available during this year. Let's start now with analyzing the different features introduced with our program. Briefly, we gave a new image to the programs, introducing the new splash images you can see here. As you probably know, our program is based, Litestar 4D is a suite of different modules coming from the goniophotometry. This is the program managing all our goniophotometers. Then the program to manage Photometric Data Manager. Then the program to manage Catalog Data Manager. Then the Lighting Design module. The browser, the electronic catalog, interactive electronic catalog, and the same catalog you can manage locally placed at the internet. So these are the 6 modules on which Litestar 4D is based. We also, behind the new splash windows you can see here, we also introduce a new layout of the icons. But let's come to analyze the main features of the new program. So first of all, let's deal with PhotoView. PhotoView, as we said, is the Photometric Data Manager, where photometric, we mean data from the photometries and data from the spectrum all together in, let's say, in the American way. Oxitec was part of the Italian Commission developing these new exchange files called UNI. UNI is the standardization body of Italy, UNI 11733, also called UniXML. This file has a peculiarity that was developed together with the Americans of the IS, and they introduced the TM33. It means that both files are almost exactly the same. There is only one part, the 6th part, which was developed together with the Americans, and this part is related to the different standards that any country could add to the files. So any country could add this 6th section, and it could be related to a peculiar standard of the country, as we did over here in Italy, because in Italy we added the 6th part, and it is called Italian Chem, and it is a part of the file describing the characteristics brought by the datasheets of the products, which are needed by the Italian public administration to implement those information straight away into DBMS of the public administration, so database management systems of the public administration. These files are something completely different from the old LDT and IS files. Those files were related only to photometry, but the new ones can manage photometry, can manage spectrum, or different spectrums if you have a goniospectrometry about your product. You can manage the information of the instruments at your laboratory. You can manage the way the measurement was done, or the photometry was done, if it was done at the goniophotometer, if it was produced as an extrapolation, if it was produced by an optical design program. And also, it is also possible to manage through the file also other parameters, like, for example, the horticultural parameter related to the horticultural world. Through the photo view, this module, it is possible to convert the old LDT files, IS, and OXL files straight away into the new formats. It's clear that if these files are bringing only the information related to the photometry, only photometry will be included at these files. And through the program, then, you can also add other information, like the spectrum, like the tools, like the instruments used at the laboratory, etc. Let's say that the OXL file is the XML file format that Oxitec started to develop almost 16 years ago. It's an XML-based file, and it is including many more information than the UNI XML file or the ISTM33 files, because we can manage images, product images. We can manage, for example, PDF files, XLS X files, etc. So you can include at the same file a full package of information related to the product. Another main feature that we introduced was the spectrum section of PhotoView. Indeed, it was already possible to manage spectrum data even with the old version number 5, but it was not managed in such a deep way like we can manage a spectrum right now. So now we added the missing color planes. Before it was possible only to manage XY planes, so the plane, the CIE color plane of 1931. We added the UV of CIE 1960 and the U first, V first back on 1976. We also added the new graphical layout of the CRI. The CRI is over here, the 15 values, and you can have here a graphical description of the different values. It is also possible to have the macadam ellipses, and this is managed only when you have more than one spectrum. So the macadam's ellipses is showing you how the points are, the distance in between the different points, and if those points can correspond to the ANSI C78 standard, the American standard. So the program is giving you the information if the product is not giving you, for example, the yellow band characterizing sometimes some luminaires. And this is not a high quality product. When you have a yellow band, it's clear that the product is not managing light in the proper way. And this is reflected in a huger distance in between two color coordinates. The information related to the spectrum can be stored into the OXL file, but also into, as we mentioned before, at the UNI, XML, and ISTM33 files. It means that if you consider how the laboratories are working now, we are really coming to the point where all the information can be packed at a single file. For example, usually at the different laboratories, you have a file for the photometry, you have a file for the instruments, you have a file for the spectrum. With these files, you can pack all the information at a single file, and considering that the program is all based on the drag and drop feature, so it means that you can have a file at the desktop, you can drag it and drop onto the PhotoView, and the file will be automatically open. It means that in a single operation, you can manage all the information that now can be managed at 3, 4, 5 different steps. Let's come now to the LightCalc, so the lighting design program. We made a huge work on the calculations and the rendering, and we improved the calculation speed and also the rendering capabilities in order to have very nice renderings and very fast calculations. We can have an idea about the renderings in a few minutes. Image managing through OXL files. It was possible before, as we could see at the previous window. It was possible to manage the OXL file including the images, but this was not possible straight away into the LightCalc. It means that when we dragged and dropped a file including the image, Lightcalc was only managing the photometry. Now it is possible to create your OXL file through the photo view, for example, or also through the ListWin. And when you use it at Lightcalc, the image will be saved together with the photometry. It means that in this case, when you have to print the project, your lighting design, it is possible to also have, together with the photometry, also the image, the product image. It is then possible, obviously, to import and use files coming in the UNI, XML, and ISTM33 format. This point about the power. Before, it was not possible to change the product power, the total power of the luminaire. Now it is possible. Why? Because with the LED luminaires, you know that we can manage current. And managing current, you can use a current, for example, 500 milliamp current, and you have a certain value of flux. But if you reduce the current, then you reduce also the flux. Before, it was not possible to modify the power, which is related to the current, so that when you modified the flux, it was also always the same power, and it was, in a way, quite confusing. So now it is possible to manage power and fluxes and their current. But this is, like to say, to open the door to a big change we are introducing with the program in order to manage the extrapolations. So it's clear that it is not necessary to measure all the photometries related to the different currents of the same luminaire, related to the same luminaire. It means that you can measure a single photometry, complete photometry, and then you can define the ratios when you pass from, for example, 500 milliamp to 350 milliamp, and create the two values, define the two values of the current power and flux, so that it is possible, it will be possible with the program to insert these values and to create a curve, so that if you need to run the calculation with a 366 milliamp current, it will be possible, and the program will automatically calculate the flux related to such a current level. Another feature that was added to Lightcalc, it is the feature to export the results, the project, the ambient, and the isolux curves into a 3D file, 3D DXF file. It's a 3D file wireframe that then it is possible to manage into other CAD applications. For example, if you have a room and you want to bring the calculation results and the isolux curves straight away into your CAD files, it is possible to extract the layer corresponding to the results corresponding to the isolux curves of interest straight away into the CAD file. But then, probably the most important feature that we introduce with this new feature is the road automatic calculation and, let's say, optimizer. It is a huge request coming from some countries, because we are now more and more facing, for example, it is very, very typical right now over here in Italy that the cities are no more managed street by street, but all the streets of the city are managed at the same time. So, for example, over here in Milan, we replaced all the luminaires installed at the city the conventional luminaires, with new LED ones, and a total of 140,000 luminaires were replaced in less than 2 years. But the company managing the lighting of the city had to calculate any road and verify that the lighting levels were corresponding to the class given to the road under consideration. So probably more than 1,000 calculations were done over here in Milan. And at that time, some years ago, it was all done manually, one by one, and it took a long period of time. Now we introduce this automatic calculation, which is giving us the opportunity to calculate in a much faster time. So we start through using an Excel file through which we can input all the information related to the roads of interest. It is also possible to define ranges. So, for example, if you want to define a range of heights of the pole, it is possible to say, okay, I want to start at 7 meters, going up to 9 meters with a step of 0.5. So the program will calculate 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, and 9. So 5 different configurations. And it will be the program that automatically explodes the different configuration, starting from one line and creating automatically 5 different lines corresponding to 5 different projects. This is also possible for the luminaires interdistance and for the tilting angle. It is also possible through the Excel file to inform the program that you want to calculate using a single photometry, 2 or more photometries, but also it is also possible not to write anything at the cell corresponding, which is this one, and the program will interpret this information, this missing information, as the will to calculate with all the photometries included at a folder. The folder defined for the photometries. So the Excel file was selected by us because it is a fantastic tool to manage information, and Excel is very well known and very used all over the world. So once you finish to input all the input information related to the road, to the luminaires, etc., you come to the Light Calc, the advanced automatic road calculation included at the Litestar 4D Advanced Project for Roads. You select the Excel file, you press Start, and the program will automatically calculate one by one the different roads and the different layouts, adding the information at this output file and creating automatically and saving automatically the project files. We decided to save one line, one project, because it was requested by most of the SCCO companies over here in Italy, because they, in this way, use the Excel file as an index, and where they can find straight away the excuse me, the information related to the project, and if they need to analyze the project, they can open only this project without having to open a large file including all the projects. So this is what you could see in a very little image before. These are the values calculated, the results calculated by the program. And the program, one by one, fulfills the different cells in functions also of the information you input at the left side This is the bar considering the border. We can consider it as a border. At the left, you have the input information. At the right, you have the output information. But it's quite interesting to see that we have now a speed of 25 projects per minute. So you can consider that hundreds of projects can be managed in really few minutes. We would like to thank for the development of this feature the following companies. The company managing the lighting of the city of Milan, the city of Rome, and many cities, small and medium cities in Italy, Heraluce. But also, we would like to thank CRE and Performance in Lighting for their cooperation. And this office, engineering office over here in Italy, who helped us a great deal in developing the tool. So, what are the advantages of such a calculation? It's clear, flexibility. Why? Because we can use the feature in different ways. So, for example, if we want to define which is the best height for a single luminaire, we can use the range option. Or if you want to find out the best luminaire in a group of luminaires, you can input all the photometries at the folder, the photometry folder, and automatically the program will analyze the configuration you gave with all the luminaires, and this will be done in a very short time. It's clear that in this way it is possible to use the program as an optimizer. So the program helps you to find out the best solution. And it is all done in an automatic way because you can study several configurations on the same road in an automatic way. And then quickness. It is, as you could see, very fast to develop many projects in a few minutes. And the automatic project saving. It is not necessary to reopen the files and save them. They are automatically saved by the program. It's clear that the Excel file becomes then a useful tool for synthesis, because in a single spreadsheet you have all the information related to the lighting of a whole city, and you don't have to go around opening different files, different projects. You just have anything you need at the same file. And I'd like to add you that we don't have only information related to the design, let's say to the calculation, the road calculation, but we also included information related to the luminaire with all the different parameters, such as, for example, the American BL and BH coming from the IS TM15, the so-called BUG, or, for example, the G asterisk, or the D coming from the European standard 13201 related to road lighting, etc. So in a single spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, you really have all the information you may need, and they can be analyzed in a very short time. Indexing, what I said before, it's clear that with a single spreadsheet you may have thousands of files, but you can find immediately the project file of interest in a group of thousands. And the project storage, because if you, for example, if you have many projects and this is the status, the situation at that time, you can put it at the storage, and whenever you want it, you can go there and find straight away all the information you may need. So as I mentioned you, we worked on calculations, improving the quickness of the calculations, and also it had a great impact also on the renderings. Here we have some examples of the renderings developed with Litestar 4D version 6. Okay, let's come now to the Liswin. The Liswin is our interactive electronic catalog. It is the catalog managed locally. As I mentioned you, we have with the UNI XML file, we have the opportunity to add the Italian CAM. Italian CAM is the Italian law related to the public lighting, and it is saying that you have to supply the information related to the datasheet of the product. So, for example, the IP, the IK, the life, etc., in a package of data included at section 6 of the UNI XML file. This file can be then transferred to the public administration. But how can we produce this file? Simply with the Litestar, you can import a photometry, let's say LDT file, for example. You can add information through the photo view. You save the file, and then you import the file using drag and drop from the desktop, for example, into here. The Liswin will automatically import the file, and at this stage, you can start adding the information related to the datasheet. Once you have finished, you can use this feature, UNI, and export the information related to the photometry, to the spectrometry, or also the information related to the instruments, together with the Italian CAM section, so the datasheet section, into the complete UNI XML file. You can imagine we worked almost for a year and a half in order to develop Litestar 6. And we believe that it was a hard work, but we are quite satisfied with the results. But we were not happy. We had to find something more to do, so we decided also to replace completely our website. If you pay a look to our website right now, you can find that it is completely different from the other. It's more modern. It's more usable than the old one. We changed the way to present the information, to present the renderings, to present the images, to present all our services. We hope you can enjoy it. Another idea we had in the past that could be realized during this period is the so-called PhotoView Web. What is PhotoView Web? PhotoView Web is simply something coming from PhotoView, but it was thought in the way to work at the web. But in which way? So let's consider what's happening right now with the manufacturers. They upload to their websites huge packages of files. For example, they usually upload IS files, or they upload LDT files, or they upload photometries in JPEG or in PNG format, or they upload photometry with a beam graphic. So many files are every day uploaded to the website. We said, yes, but this is not necessary, because if we use PhotoView thought for the web, you can upload simply a NoExcel file, which is the file that we developed, and it is including all the others, and create automatically, for example, polar diagrams, Cartesian diagrams, or LDT files, IS files, UNI XML files, ISTM33 files, straight away under the request of the user. So saving a lot of time. An advantage is that in this way, whenever we want to add a new graphic or we want to add a new file format, this can be done easily without even touching anything, because it is simply adding a feature to the program, but the original file still stay the same. So the OXL file. The advantage is clear. It avoids loading huge amounts of files on company sites. This feature is already available through our web catalogs, but it will be available also as a program for the customer sites or as a server. In this way, the customer should create features in order to call our service, and our system will give back the file request, the requested file. We also introduced something new under the commercial point of view, so it's going to be introduced during next days. So it is the so-called license A. The license A means you can now rent the program for a period minimum of a month. So it is all done through the web. You have to use our e-commerce system, and the system, once you have finished to pay, will send you back a code to activate the program. Once the period expires, then the program will be turned off and can be turned on again whenever you acquire an extension of the period of license. I thank you.